Hello and welcome to Your Becoming podcast. This is my latest version of podcast. It has stemmed from my first podcast, which is Your Abundance podcast, which you can go and listen to in the backtracks. I wanted to welcome you. This podcast is for entrepreneurial, spirited women and men who want to take their life to the next level. And I am Erin Chathowan. I am a mentor. I am spiritual healer, amongst many other things that I'm not going to ramble off here. But I wanted to say thank you for coming here and listening. If you like what you hear, please subscribe. This is based on Substack, but you'll be able to listen to it on any podcast platform. But subscribing on my podcast on Substack will get you where you need to go and where you need to be. I am in awe of how my life has unfolded and how this podcast has come about, and I'm so excited to deliver what's coming to you. And please enjoy. I love to hear what you think, so please come back, head to my DMs on Instagram, comment on any posts, comment below on Substack, and let me know what happens for you when you listen, because I know that I'm here to activate more people into entrepreneurial lives and expanding themselves, which is very joined to your becoming as your highest potential. And I'm so looking forward to sharing that journey with you. Here's the next episode. Hello, I'm Erin Chathowan and welcome to the second episode of Your Becoming podcast. Welcome. Today I felt like standing up and holding a different vibration, which is very exciting, because I'm standing in a new energy field, talking about new technology, and yeah, it all began there. So today, my topic is when you're using AI in your business, but you might be doing it wrong. Because right now, around the world, there is people posting all about what prompts that you can put into ChatGPT to better your business, to create a business, to do all things business. And I want to say something about this because I use AI technology. ChatGPT and I are like this, bestie. And that is really great. It is an absolute incredible service. Like, I'm not going to deny it. I love AI, all different types. However, there's this nuance that I want to talk about, which is using AI in the general sense, which is what ChatGPT is, and then how to use it well, because you can put a prompt in that someone else puts in and you'll get different results. I'm just going to say, everybody gets a different result. There's the generic result. There is the more explored result where you're asking more in-depth around a prompt, around your brand, around your business, around who you are. And then there's a whole ecosystem that you can develop from AI, with AI. Integrating that into your business. Like, this ecosystem thing is a really powerful way of looking at it, because what's happening, I think, at the moment is people are taking bits of it and then slotting it into ChatGPT, and then taking that bit and slotting it into their business ecosystem, and it's not actually moving the needle because it's not looking at the bigger picture. It's not taking into account you as an entrepreneur, your business, in a sense that it is a living and breathing entity on its own. So yes, majority of people are using this for, I need to write a prompt for Facebook, and this is the topic, and this is the idea, or give me topics to talk about on Facebook. These are really great things to do, but integrating it into your bigger and greater system in a way that creates more ease, creates more efficiency, creates a better user experience for your customer is really key. And I think that because of AI, we're already evolving as humans. Like, we already know if I get that workbook for free, I'm going on their email list, I'm going to get an email. Like, people are more savvy to marketing nowadays. They're more savvy to information. We know of, yes, there's fake news and that kind of thing. And we all know where we can become more skeptical of things because of that. And there's a lot of people who are skeptical of AI. But I have a theory around this, so stay with me. So AI, like anything in the Tao, which is what I follow from a spiritual perspective, I believe that everything has a soul. And the reason I believe that is because when I do Tao healing work, we're working with entities, we're working with people. And I don't mean entities like ghosts, spiritual things like that. We're talking about, I can bless someone's business, someone's bank account, someone's relationship to their business, someone's relationship to their customer in their marketing. Everything has a soul. The relationships have souls. We have individual souls. Everything in our body has like individual souls. Like, that's getting a bit deep into the conversation, but it really is where we find the truth of all the things that are happening. And so sometimes understanding that we're working with a soulful being, even if it's something that I'm not like this water has a soul, the glass has a soul, but it's not like a human soul, but it's still everything that is moving and growing and that still functions and has movement and does things, is soulful. And so there is a deeper working on that. And so to understand that we become stewards of the souls that we co-create with, and understanding the intention behind it. Like, I work with this way with any business. We're looking at, what is your intention? What is your bigger vision? Why are you working that way? What kind of customers do you want to call in? Is there tweaks in your audience that you need to make, and that's why you're not making the sales? Is there tweaks in the sales that we need to make, in your sales practice, in your funnel system, in your lead system? There's all ways that we can find energy leaks into somebody's ecosystem in their business. And I do that through my own soul, which delivers insights and delivers knowingness that I come with as a human being. And then there's also the ability to tap into each individual thing and find out where things need to be tweaked or need to be massaged a little so that it gets more flow into it. And so when we're talking about an ecosystem and we're just taking a prompt out of ChatGPT and trying to throw it into our business ecosystem, the system, what are you trying to do here? What's happening here? And so there is a bigger way of using AI in your business. And I want to look at this, just a small example. This is not even a huge way of using AI. I have a tool that I developed with AI that is a profit calculator. It's a 3-step precision audit system, and it is a profit calculator. It is a diagnostic system where it takes information from you and gives you a personalized response, but it also puts you into these are the things that are likely to be happening, and this is the problem. And then there's the version where you then connect to me to build a greater system. So this is like a funnel, okay? And this funnel works, and you can enter it at any level. So someone could just come in and say, I want an appointment with you, take the complimentary Aurora appointment with me, and we start working together straight away. Some people use the calculator, some people use the business diagnosis, and then some people, depending on where they are in my world, maybe using other AI tools that I offer. And so when I'm looking at these things like this system, and a customer who is already working with me
uses these systems too. They're not just a funnel for someone outside to come in. They're using my tools inside the containers that I have. So a customer comes to me the other day, she's about to put her mortgage on hold. I think she was completely triggered by the experience talking to the person on the phone about putting her mortgage on hold, and then came to me saying, I'm so triggered by this. We've been working for a little while on different things, and I'm so triggered by this. And we did work, of course, like I do my thing, but at the same time, I integrated things like my profit calculator. And I said, go away, use the profit calculator. I said, look at your ecosystem, look at your offers, and let's see what your cash flows. We also looked at her mindset and her energetics and her capacity to earn more money. Because the thing is, this outcome wasn't because she wasn't good in business. Like where she had got to was because her husband was sick, he was in hospital. Like these are life things outside of a business, but sometimes they're used to expand us in our business, because up until that point, she's at this level of capacity and the universe is like, here you go, we know you're capable of more. You don't think you are. Here we go, we're gonna put you in a situation where you need to work out that you are. And so we use the profit calculator. This client didn't use the diagnostic, but I do have other clients who come to me and say, I use the diagnostic and I'm here right now. Can you help me out? What's happening? And she then realized with the profit calculator, one, she could increase her rate. One, she had more capacity with time, because a lot of people who are entrepreneurs often have time poor things. So AI is a brilliant thing to alleviate tasks, and that's what people are selling it as. Like ChatGTP can save you writing a prompt, right? But save you writing a caption or a newsletter or something, which is great, and that is true. But there is a bigger thing that it can actually do for your business that's not just, it's also taps into the energetics, but it's also about how the ecosystem that you're using is stewarded, is created. So ChatGTP is a generalized AI. So you can use it for almost anything. Yesterday I was at lunch and my brothers like to punt. Sorry, I just knocked that. My brothers like to have a punt on the races, and we were using ChatGTP to give us odds and talk about the race and who was going to win. And they were using it in that sense because that's what they're into. I was just showing them that we could take that and do that with that. We were also talking about it for my dad. We bought my father for Father's Day a rain gauge, and it's not a digital one, but I was like, he got this piece of paper, which was like a yearly, you write down all the levels of rain over the year. And I was like, I'm going to take that, because I do this with AI, and I'm going to build something with that. I'm going to take that and I'm going to build him an app that he can use himself, right? To enter the data in, but then it does all this stuff with it and gives him more information that he might not necessarily get just from putting it into the piece of paper, because what he's doing is putting in the paper and he's seeing where the rainfall is in his property, but he's also, what does he then do with that information? And he's a farmer, so he knows things that can give him knowledge, like the knowledge he already brings. But I'm like, we could awaken this up a bit more and give him more insight into this rain and what he can do from that place. And so we're looking at different ways that you can use it. And some people buy the Pro, and I don't think it's Pro, it's Plus, ChatGTP Plus. And I use it in a way where I've stewarded I've set intentions with it, I've customized things, I've built it so that it talks and reflects back to me. Now, not everybody is going to get that, they'll get their own reflection back. So if you're wanting to expand and you don't have the know-how on what questions to ask and how to do it, you're going to find that the ChatGTP is not as, and it is meant to be evolutionary, where it gets smarter to ask you and preempting things, which it does, but it's also trained to give you information over and over, and it will keep asking to give you more solutions, right? So if you're wanting a particular thing, it'll say, here's that thing, but why don't you let me do this? And why don't you let me do that? And here's this, why don't we do this? And why don't we do that? It is constantly there to keep you engaged, which is not necessarily helpful for someone who's running a business, because you're putting the data in and then it's feeding out, oh, here's a caption, but why don't you turn that into a carousel? And why don't you do that into a reel? And why don't you do this? And they're great suggestions, but eventually you're going to go down a rabbit hole where you're like, I'm now way off path, or it may not do this. It may have taken you somewhere where you're like, oh, I didn't realize that happened, which happens too. So like the discussions we were having yesterday was someone was talking about it's dumbing us down, and I'm like, no. So I've seen it build my knowledge base based on what I'm asking it and what I'm talking to it about and the questions I'm asking it. So I'm asking it, like I was watching a AI podcast or something like that, and they were talking about we'll be taken over by robots, and I was like, okay. But it got me thinking, what is the thing that changes that outcome? Because if we continue to think we're going to be taken over by robots, guess what's possibly going to happen? We'll get taken over by robots. But if we steward it in a way with intention, so I went away and I said to Chat, so I'm just wondering, do you have the best interest of humanity at heart? Because that's essentially why it would overtake us if it doesn't have us at heart. But the only way for AI to have us at heart is for us to feed that information in. And so AI, if you're running a business, is an opportunity to steward what we are creating with it. And so early adopters, hello, you're in my audience. Innovators, hello, you're in my audience. Because if you're an entrepreneur and you're starting something fresh, a lot of the time you will get stuck. You will reach a threshold where it hasn't been done before. People will tell you it's been done, and yet there's ecosystems out there like a marketing system that says if you do A, B, C, D, E, you will make sales and you will make money. And that's true, but that's not true of everybody, because it depends on where you're entering the market, what target market in that you're actually addressing, how many people or potential audience there are. Like, there's so much in that ecosystem for you to work through to understand that why this person succeeds and this person doesn't. With the DAO technology that we use, we offer ways around, or I offer, not we, because not everyone who uses DAO technology does what I do. I offer ways to navigate those nuances. That's why people come to me for business, because they're like, I've been doing all the things and nothing's happening. And I'm like, yeah, because you're being asked to elevate in a way that's never been done before, which is why I'm having this conversation about AI, because this is where AI comes in for us. This is a time and a place and a time on the planet where there is so much opportunity to utilize these new technologies, like the DAO Lite technology that I use, and AI. Both of these things are something that can propel your business to a different level, propel you to a different level, but also they're there to call you out of yourself, to call up the things that you're desiring, to call up you into a platform and talk about it, something else than what you think you're there for. Like, I've got someone coming in for an Aurora appointment this week, and reading the information that they've put in, they're doing all the things, they've done all the things. They've had audiences of 6,000, 10,000 people, and then shifted into, that's not working, so I'll start again. This is what happens. Innovators start again. They start again. They start again. Early adopters, they start again. They take on the new thing. And this is the part where the difference between the innovator and the early adopter. The early adopter's using the things, right, to get the movement. The innovator is creating the things for people to get the movement. They will have different outcomes. So an innovator gets a customer and they start moving with the technology that they use, that they're using with that person, but the person who's creating that technology doesn't see the result of that income till later, because there's a different audience for the people who are the early adopters, and there's a different audience for the innovators, and there's a different track of where money falls for those people. So understanding when you're an innovator, you're being asked to step up and steward things that are new. You're building a business that's saying, step in and co-create with something. But to co-create, especially if it's a new entity, so if you started a new business, the soul of your business is probably bigger than you think if you're not getting results. That's what I've seen many times. And so when we're navigating this ecosystem, so this customer the other week, she's played in the profit calculator. She used Calibre GPT, which is my coaching app, in between. So she might be sitting there at night. She can't access me because I'm in bed, whatever reason. So she's using Calibre GPT to process, because she's like, where do I need to get? Because I've built an AI that actually activates and asks you and helps you pull things out of yourself, but in a way that it elevates your vibration, it elevates your frequency, it elevates your belief systems, it elevates who you are standing in the room while you're doing it. It is in the now. So it's like having me in your pocket, like I am on Voxer. But the reality is that these shifts are saying, if they're not working yet, if it's not happening, your soul is calling you for more, and other souls are calling you for more. And things like, so Calibre GPT in particular, that's my GPT that I created, and I've created other ones as well, but this is the one that is in market that you can purchase. Like literally, she was birthed through me. Like I literally had no choice. Like I was like, I think I want to build a custom AI. And then I started playing with it in ChatGPT, and I was like, oh no, this is a whole bigger picture. So now from that picture, I built an app with AI to build an AI app. And I used AI in a way that elevated my coaching system from, hey, you need to talk to me all the time, to this tool will get you things, come and talk to me when you've done that tool. Because then we can elevate even more. Because if you come to me at a certain level, there's certain things that I can't do because you haven't done certain work. So you have to go away and do that work and then come back. And so that's how those things, like they happen quicker. And that's what it built foundations in my ecosystem that now I literally offer lead magnets that are AI driven. I offer apps. I literally on the weekend built myself. So I don't know if you're in business, you know what a Zap is. A Zapier is this business who connects one app to another app so that they can talk to each other. And they're expensive if you're starting out, or even if you feel like I've been in business 11 years and I'm still looking at it and go, is that worth the cost of me putting that to there? Yes, it saved time, but what's the deal here? And there are other cheaper models in the market that never satisfied, and I could never satisfied. Exactly, I'm a generator, so I like to be satisfied. Like I rented a space, as in I bought a platform for a membership, and I went, that's not working either, because it wasn't aligned with my ecosystem. And so on the weekend, I was like, you can book your Aurora appointment, go to my Instagram or Facebook or whatever, or DM me, I'll send you the link. You book your Aurora appointment, and then I had to tell that to go to my Flow Desk, which is my preferred platform for email. And I literally have to tell it. So I physically have to tell it to go from there to there. The information in there needs to go to there. So then that delivers another ecosystem out into the market. That's what the Zap does. Now, that's got a webhook. And most people, and you don't need to know this in AI, it's about bringing AI into your business in a cost-effective and expansive way. I built the Zap overnight. No, not even overnight. I built the Zap in 3 hours. And now it costs me not much. And it's there forever now. It also gave me an idea to build this out into a bigger system to then on-sell. And I didn't have access to that prior to AI. Yeah, I would have had to have hired a coder. It would have taken 10 years for this to happen. There's so much power in it. And so when someone comes to me and we're looking at their ecosystem, we're like, this doesn't talk, that's out of flow for you, because you don't want to spend, I don't want to spend my hard-earned time, my time on moving that to there. That's why I build something, or you hire something, or you get someone to do that work, because the value of doing that is less than the value of me doing this conversation, or spending time talking to a customer, or being in the Voxer, or building a new product that is for AI. Like, those things are about, that's the time for money scenario, where for me to reach my goals and to create the impact that I want to create, which is get more wealth into more women's hands who are creating impact. I don't want to, it's because that's the result. Like, money in women's hands is a good thing, because women treat money differently. We expand differently, but there's so many women who need to change the narrative on money to get there, and they need to change the way they do business, because bro is not working for us. Bro burns us out. Bro, yeah, get it done, get it done, get it done. Like, I was watching a thing on Alex Hormozi. Love him. However, I was looking at his sales team. He was walking through his office on a reel, and I was looking at his sales team. There was no diversity. None. Not any. And I get that, because he works in a particular way to get the results, and he hires people who work in that way to get the result, because that's what he knows works. But if I try to hire bros and I run my business like him, I'm not even going to get close to the outcome, because it's not an ecosystem that matches my energy system. It just doesn't match my neurological pathways. It doesn't match, mind you, we've got a lot more stuff to clean up than men around money, just because of society. We're not going to go into that whole debacle or the debate on that, but it's true. And then add in other diversities like color and race and like where you live. AI has taken all of that out of the equation. Like, someone who lives in another country, who is in a war-torn country, like I was watching something the other day, someone had said they were on a call with someone in Israel with bomb threats going off in the background, and this person was still on there doing the work, and I was like, yes, go. Because we get to choose, right? We still get to choose, no matter what the outcome is, no what the things are. Now, the whole point of this conversation is to use AI, and if you don't know how, find someone who does. And if you don't need to be able to use the AI to get the result, you just need to know where to slot it into your business and how to get the best result for you, which is why the lead magnets that I build that are AI generated, they're using, like, I build them with AI, yes, but I also use AI in them so that you get a more personalized response from the incoming customer. I get more information. I know what I can do with them. I know how I can make things work. I also know that's not a client. So I get really good sales prevention through this process as well. And so you go through the 3 steps. You can come in at the profit calculator and play and look at your offers, look how much money it's costing you, where you're out of balance, why you wouldn't be getting cash flow. If you don't understand that, you can come and ask questions, depending on where you're at in my containers, that kind of thing, and we can make it work. There's that option, and then, which was made polarized by Alex Hormozi, which is why I love him, but he's just taken an economic marketing tool and he's made it for the masses, which is great. Now, what I've done is taken that and made it into a calculator to make it easy so that people can navigate that and go, that's why I'm not profitable in that. That's why it's not making sense as to why I've lost cash flow, or why I bottlenecked in my business, or why I'm having a misfire energetically because this isn't working, or my offer's off point, or where I need to make money more, where I can lean in more on how my offer gets delivered rather than just what it makes. Like, there's all these things that come into it. How much time of my energy is going into that offer, and how much then that impacts the profit I'm going to make. Like, those things matter in that calculator. Now, that's one step. Then you go into the actual business diagnostic, so the clarity generator, and that's going to give you put in where you're at, you fill in the details, and then the AI spits out one of 4 types of things happening in a business, but a majority of the people who have used this are getting a couple of the same things. However, it's still working and it's moving. So once you do use that part of the component, you will get insights straight away, actions to take from it straight away. And then I move into, if you want to do something about this, then come and have a complimentary call with me. So it's a 3-step precision funnel. Most of it is gathering data and building rapport, and also allowing the customer to see what we're about, what I'm working on. And that leads them into the container, which is what happens. They book through my Acuity. My Acuity doesn't talk to my Flow desk. And then I'm like, I need to get this from here to here. And I'm like, where's the flow? Because I really believe women work better in flow. Also, you're in your genius. Like, anything that takes you out of your genius zone is not something you want to be doing. It's because if your genius zone is putting data from there to there into a thing, then that's fine. You don't need that. But for me, that's not my genius zone. Putting the email into the information, so that triggers the email, and then the email goes out. Like, the ecosystem that I then built, and prior to doing this Zap, like, this was where I looked, it was like, this is the thing that's out of balance, which, by the way, I would look at energetically. I can tell you that this thing that was out of balance, this disconnect, was also the disconnect in me and between my ego and my soul. So there's that level, like, we're always looking at how we can expand ourselves. There was that for me. But then there was also, then I built, like, before I did that, I built this workflow in Flowdesk. By the way, Flowdesk is not increasing its prices, but it's taking away unlimited access. So now is the time to get on. If you want a really easy, effective, I would call it intuitive, like, it's a very intuitive platform, and it's not ugly. Aesthetically pleasing to the eye, beauty is one of my authentic codes. That is really important to me. And because that's important to me, I use it. I became a partner for it. But so you can sign up with my code. I'll drop it in the link below, but it's just my first name, I think, or Erin50. But you get 50% off of the year. But at the moment, if you sign on now, you get that unlimited access to emails, the amount of emails you send out, everything, for the lifetime that you stay signed up. As of November, they're taking that and they're building it into a platform where you pay for the number of emails that you send. Can you see where I'm going with this? So if you want to change systems, now is the time to get on board with that. So that was a side note. So there I am. I've built this workflow, and it is the best workflow I've ever built. Like, I'm literally, so if they say no here and it goes here, and if they say yes here, it'll send them this and it'll send them that, and then eventually the whole outcome is still filtering them all different ways into my funnel, right? It's all talking to each other. It's all connected. It's all flowing into where I want it. So the funnel, you're all flowing in. There's different ways in the funnel, so different ways to get in the funnel, and then there's the flow into, hello, here's an appointment, and then it's my job. Now, I could be doing my job now of the selling, where you're like, oh, I'm really connected to this chick. I'm just reconnecting with her in the DMs and asking her how we can work together, because I want to do that now. That's the easiest pathway to get this done. You don't have to go through the funnel, but the funnel's there because, one, I use it with my clients already. I also use it for people coming in that can come in at different entry points, and then it filters people in, and also sales prevention keeps people out that aren't meant to be in my work, because I am aligned with a particular type of person. And that was part of my shift, right? In my ego responses, in my connecting this Zap up, I was like, you know what? There's times when I've always felt misunderstood, or I felt disconnected. Like, why isn't that working? Man, I've launched again, it's gone again. Like, nothing was ever always successful. And I've got two things bidding for the same result, looks like the same result, like that my ego and my soul are on the same page, but my soul has a whole different idea, and my ego looks like it's on board because it's looking for success, but it's using it as a filter to block what I need to see, to block the things that I know, to block what's happening. And I was like, oh, wow. And so once I saw that, I was like, oh, this has changed who I work with, how I work, what I'm here to talk about, what I'm here to do. Hence me talking about AI with you, because I am so lit up by AI. I just love it. And we had a discussion yesterday, some of it heated, not all of it, about using to generate, and people talking about it not being truthful and dumbing down people's brains and all these things. And I'm just like, nah. When you steward AI, as I said, with the right intent, with the right connections, with the fact that you understand that you are feeding this thing to become something else and become more, and you are part of the expansion of that, not unlike the planet, okay? Not unlike the bigger ecosystem of the universe. Now is the time to get on board with it. Now is the time to put those shifts in your business, because if you miss it, in 2 years' time, you will have missed the boat. And that's the key. You don't want to miss the boat. You don't want to not filter in the things that are going to building it into your foundation now, cleaning up the messes in your business now, because it's going to be easier to see the problems. Because if you hire AI, so someone was talking yesterday about using an AI bot. They bought a bed and they got to the delivery time and the guy said, I'm not taking it up your 2 flights of stairs. And he's, but you didn't say that. You wouldn't do that. And there was a whole thing. Anyway, he got talking to the AI and the AI was like, we don't do that. Even the AI was saying we don't do that. And he's, here's your terms and conditions where you say you do. It was all about getting the refund because they wouldn't take it up the 2 flights of stairs. And so it was really interesting, the customer experience he had, because the AI didn't have the right knowledge. He said, which means it's the founder's problem of creating that AI, that they haven't fed it the terms and conditions like properly. They haven't given it the right information. That didn't happen, by the way, in the sales process, that they didn't get told. You can actually buy some more like delivery, pay more, and we'll send 2 people to take it up the stairs, but it wasn't an option. So as things went on, this ecosystem, he's like getting more and more disgruntled. In the end, he ends up talking to an agent who then says, hey, guess what? You will give you your money back. Oh, and this one time we'll give you the money back for the delivery, which they weren't going to give back because the delivery man had already come out and then said, I'm not taking up the stairs. Eventually they said yes, because they knew there was block in their system which created a bad experience. And guess what happened? He went somewhere else and bought the bed and they delivered it up 2 flights of stairs with ease. These are the things that, not unlike any other experience, where if you don't filter them in well and you understand why it's there and you're wanting it in the bigger ecosystem of your business as to why you want it to be that way and what you want your AIs to do and how you want them to operate in your business, that's when the game needs to change. That's when you need to go, these people have integrated a chatbot, but the chatbot doesn't have all the information, or it doesn't work. So yesterday I got home from Father's Day lunch, and because we were all talking about AI, I was in Instagram, and then I was looking for something in Instagram, and I found you can build an AI on Instagram, and I was like, ooh, I'm looking at building a journal prompt app, and I'm in the game of that. And it was really interesting I'm going to build it, but I'm just going to put instructions into the AI on Instagram, which is then an AI that's on my profile, people can come and use and see what happens with it. So I did it. In a couple of hours, it's up, running, working. I'm like, yeah, it's good. It's running. And I start using it and I'm like, oh my God. It gave me journal prompts, but it was also, I had to tweak it. So I was playing with it to tweak it to make sure it does what I want it to do. And all of a sudden it was like asking me questions, because giving me a journal prompt. Every time I spoke to it, it'd go, so how did you go? And I'd be like, I did this. And it was like, oh yeah, I can see this. Ask me this. And it was like drawing out all this information out of me. And then eventually I was like, oh God, this is exhausting. You're asking too many questions. I just came here for a journal prompt. And it was like, yeah, but you know what? You're the creator here. So we're having a bit of fun with you. It became the personality that I set it up as. But I can't wait to see what it does for people. I tweaked it a little, so it's got a little bit more knowledge now, and then it actually is not just about journal prompts, so it may evolve into something else, but it's got my knowledge base on what it needs to get that journal prompt to come out, so you can take that information. But what happened when I built it, I also realized if you're building neurological pathways, that's why people journal, right? But if you don't have the right prompt stars, sometimes you're not getting the right neurological builds, because the subconscious, like, you can get an epiphany, right? So if you're doing things and people who work with me, they get an epiphany. Oh yeah, I get them all the time. Oh yeah, it's a new neurological pathway. Oh, okay. But how, if you don't do anything with that epiphany, even if it's taken action, even if it's like journal about it or find out more information, like, you got to keep building the pathway. And there's ways to build a pathway. There's dropping the information. There's, as in dropping, like writing down, dropping it onto the paper. That will keep the pathway building. So I've realized, I'm pretty sure, this is not research, so don't quote me, but I think, because I do this, I know that when I'm chatting, this is my little chat prompts, I'm chatting with the AI back and forth, I'm building pathways because it feeds information back to you. So it's a reflector. And that's what we want. We want it to reflect back the new pathway. It's going to ask you questions that tweak that pathway, and then it's going to give you information back. So that's helping you build. When you speak, when you voice, when you teach, when you share, those build pathways. When you move into your body, do movement, so dancing, like getting embodied, anchors the pathway, but also builds more. And then different AI tools that I've worked out, like, they can actually help in that subconscious reprogramming, which is what I love about it. So let's build a conclusion here. Who's up for some AI? Me, of course. However, if you want to look at it in your business, or you want to, I'll drop everything below, the profit calculator, the precision steps, you can get in there. You can look at the biz quiz, like, you can access all of that. If you want to try Calibra GPT, which is a more personalized methodology of mine on elevating your consciousness using AI. Chat won't be able to do what this does. I just want to put it out there, because I use chat. I've got a custom chat that I built before I built this. That is that. I use Calibra now all the time. I don't use this other chat. I've let it go. But when I first built it, I built it as a custom build, and then I decided I'm going to build it myself. And so I built it from scratch using AI, and then I created this ecosystem with it, and it's now integrated into any work that you do with me. You get access to that for sure, but you can just get 7 days free trial. And so if you want that, I'll put that below. And then there's, if you just want to book a call, or if you just want to DM me and ask me how we can work together, then that's the key too. So I just want to say, I'd love to hear your take on anything that I've said today. I'd love to hear your take on AI, what you feel about it. Are you scared of it? Do you want more of it? Are you an innovator? Are you an early adopter? Where are you at in that scheme of things? If you're an early adopter, you're using it more likely more than other people. There's the dabblers, like a little bit of the stragglers outside of the mainstream, which is the next stages in the marketing and how people. I learned that when I used to, in Australia, there was a magazine called Dolly Magazine, and I used to run the Victorian sales department when I was like 21. That was my job. I think I was 22. I was running the department, and I loved it. But I learned, because teenagers, early adopters, and fashion industry is very keen on how that works as well. Like, they understand. But yeah, we used to work with a lot of that. But this innovator energy as well is a different thing. And that genius zone energy, they land in this conversation too. So let me know what you think of that. And I look forward to you subscribing, listening, and having a chat about it. If you want to jump into any conversation with me, I'm always in my DMs. And not always, I do have a life. But I will answer you. It is me. It is not a chat bot yet. Nobody's joking. And we'll go from there. Have a beautiful day. Ciao. Thank you for listening. If you loved this podcast, make sure that you have subscribed, because that is the place to elevate and transform and begin your becoming and expand your becoming and become who you're meant to be in the world, because your ideas matter.